Hello, thanks for tuning in again to listen to one of my videos. Today's video is trying to explain why we do the things that we do. Why do we do that? And that is often the reason why people come in to talk. And in other words, many times people call and say, hey, I have turned into the person I never wanted to become, and I don't know why. And so what a lot of our time is done here is to talk about the things that drove us to the place that we're at. And what I describe that as is our core needs. Needs that drive behavior. And if we're not aware of what our important needs are with those, then I think we often get in a place where we are empty and we'll do anything to get some of those things met. And then also what happens is when we're not getting our core needs met or they're being threatened, we find ourselves violating our own core values, and that's what really confuses most of us or brings that crisis in our life when our core values like honesty and faithfulness, integrity, respect, and kindness, love, things like that that we value, creativity. When those things, we contradict those and violate those, that creates a crisis all by itself. And we then feel really, really bad and feel really perplexed, depressed, guilty, and all those things that then weigh us down, and then we don't know who we are anymore. So I want to kind of address what those core needs are and maybe kind of help give a roadmap for that. So our major core needs, I would identify them, are through the categories of connection, control, spirituality, and love. Those are our core needs, and they all have subcategories I'll lay out real quick. So the first one, regarding connection, we all have different needs to connect. That depends upon whether we're introverted, the ones that we are really into alone time and a couple of close friends and gain energy by being by ourselves, have a strong inner world going on. And they're extroverts, gaining energy by being around a lot of people, lots of friends and interaction, and a lot of social interaction. Those needs are being challenged and confronted. That drives our behavior a certain way and our feelings a certain way. The other one is very important, which I call is our control needs, which is our need for certainty. Certainty is where we find things to be clear, where we get things met right away, where we have structure, routine, where our need is to have things in order and understood in life. Security, a very intense core need to have certainty. And imagine where uncertainty is threatened. You might do anything to get certainty back. And the other core need is uncertainty, meaning some of us have a core need to have things in variety. The life needs to have surprises, and we all like surprises. However, the surprises we like are the ones that we want. The surprises we don't want, we call them problems most of the time. But nonetheless, uncertainty is also a core need for variety. Because imagine if life was such a way that we knew what was going to happen next all the time. If we knew what everyone was going to think and say and feel, though predictable, quite boring and lifeless. So I think God gave us that need for uncertainty to have variety, mystery, and creativity. The other core need we have is, which is more of a spiritual need, is significance. Significance is a core need for us to where we feel important, that we're valued, that we are important enough to matter to ourselves and everyone around us. We will do anything for us to be significant sometimes. Whether that is throwing out and launching out our verbiage on Facebook or social media, to painting our bodies and piercing our bodies in every which way possible, or it's joining a cause, becoming part of a community to help others, helping the common good, to minister to people, whatever that might be, we're trying to find significance. It's an important core need. Another part of that would be growth. Growth is another, what I call a spiritual core need, where growth is so important that if we feel like we're not growing and we're not learning and not progressing, life has that sense of flattening out, and it becomes to have no energy. And when that starts to happen, we then start gravitating toward things that give us a false sense of growth. Or we grow in other ways that are productive and substantial. You know, there's always good growth and bad growth, fast growth and too slow a growth, right? The other core need we have is contribution. Relative to significance, but we have a need to contribute. And how do we contribute? And how is it realized? We have a need to give and for it to matter. We have a need to be understanding of ourselves that I have something to offer. I have something to help with. And if I'm not feeling like I have anything to contribute, then what tends to happen is our self-worth goes down, we don't feel valued, and then we begin to drift back into the background and not really noticed. Or if we are getting that need met, we realize that we have a lot to give and others can't wait to have more of it. So there's two ways we go about that. And finally is the need for love. Something that's obvious. Love is a core need that, depending upon how we get that need met, will make all the difference. There are ways that we try and get that need met that's good in the here and now, or a quick fix, or there are ways we try and find love that's sustaining and substantial. So that's another one of our core needs. So what I was kind of intimating throughout all those core needs, which are connection, certainty, uncertainty, significance, growth, contribution, and love. There are ways that we meet those needs in a substantial, sustaining way and fulfilling, or there are ways we get those met in the here and now, the quick fix. And those lead to usually messier situations and unfulfillment. So we always have to ask ourselves, how am I getting my core needs met? Now, like I said earlier, of all those needs, there's two of those that usually drive the bus, that matter the most to us. It's helpful, and I think essential, to know what are your two most important core needs and how are you getting them met. Because that's the path that's taking you to where your calling is, your passion is. And make this final note. If you are involved in something or doing something or with somebody or feeling something that's hitting all three of those needs, or three of your core needs, at least three, that's what we get addicted to in a positive or negative way. If three or more core needs are being met at one time, that's where your passion is or your addiction is, good and bad. So core needs, very essential. Know them, understand them, and keep them in front of you. Thanks for coming.